Beyond the Paddle, powered by Best 4 nutritional supplements. Good, better, best for you and your family.
It's just after dawn on an autumn's morning off the Durban beachfront, an absolutely spectacular day to be out paddling. When you get into autumn and winter in South African paddling, two things really happen. Down in the Western Cape, you're building towards the river season with the Swartlands and the Berg. But on the eastern seaboard of the country, the start of the Discovery Best 4 Surf Ski series captures all of the attention. And I've got to tell you, the hype around this year's series seems to be bigger and better than ever before. Welcome to Best 4 Beyond the Paddle, the show where we have a look at everything to do with paddle sports. We'll chat to who's paddling, work out what they're paddling on, have a look at where they're paddling. We'll see if we can find a way to get you onto the water to have some paddling fun as well. But before we push out onto what is going to be a spectacular day out on the Indian Ocean, let's have a close look at what you can expect in the next hour. We spent some time with Olympic legend Brigit Fischer, then the best of the best in the World Champs of Extreme Kayaking. We spent some time with our golden girl, Bridgette Hartley. We drop in on the SA's school sprint champs. And we try out the new Focus surf ski before wrapping it all up with some more hardcore kayaking adrenaline. With 12 Olympic medals, 8 of them gold and 4 silvers, and 38 World Championship medals, 28 golds and 6 silvers and 4 bronzes. In a period between 1978 and 2005, Brigit Fischer, or Brigit Fischer Schmidt as she is nowadays, is a living legend. She went to 6 Olympic Games, missing the 1984 Los Angeles Games in the days when East Germany boycotted the event. However, from 1981 to 1987, she made a clean sweep at all the World Champs. From the flat waters of the sprint courses to the steep, wild water chosen for the World Champs of Extreme Kayaking. This time, we travel to Ötztal in the Austrian Alps for the tussle for the Adidas Sickline Extreme Kayaking World title. The Ötztal in Austria. This is the Tyrol region and the longest side of the valley with 253,000 peaks, glacier fields and crystal clear alpine waters. At the entrance of the valley, below the picturesque town of Lake Piberg, lies the small town of Ötz, a popular tourist destination and home to the famous Vellebrücke Rapids. Austria's Tyrol region, well known for any kind of outdoor sport, is a kayaking mecca in the summer months. And with its glacier-fed rivers, the Ötztal is favoured amongst kayakers from every corner of the world as a truly unique paddling paradise. We accompanied world champion Sam Sutton on his wild water expeditions. In the remote Altai mountains in Siberia, he and his friends explored the regionally Bashkus River. Many extreme paddlers are experienced adventurers as well and able to survive for several days in complete remoteness. They paddle hundreds of kilometers through dangerous rapids and massive white water with huge waves. In Iceland, the kingdom of waterfalls, Sutton enjoyed paddling vertical kilometers. Running a waterfall might take 2 or 3 seconds, but the approach can take several hours and even several days to scout. From Iceland, Sam Sutton and his mates moved on to Mexico, where they were fortunate enough to find the so-called River God, the kayaker's heaven. Rich blue water flowing through a green jungle with a stunning cascade of waterfalls. The perfect playground for the current extreme kayaking world champ. Each year, the world champs in extreme kayaking is determined over this legendary section of the Ötztaler Ach River.
The Adidas Sickline Worlds attracts kayakers from various disciplines. The best wildwater paddlers, the slalom aces and the freestyle champions. So let's have a look at the competition, starting off with Pearl Buchelmann from Germany. German slalom champion of 2010, and he wants to get onto the podium, and he's got the potential to do that. The slalom racers like Buchelmann don't spend that much time running big drops or doing these faraway expeditions, but they do know the technique. He paddles with pretty much perfect technique here, and he can teach some of the wildwater kayakers a thing or two about style and stroke. He's safely through the Champions Killer. Now it's all a case of powering down to the finish line. Looking for a sub 1 minuter if he wants to get to the leaderboard. Checks up at the clock, he's done it. 3.63 seconds faster than Philip Gibbons, and that's going to slot him right into first place. Now, Mike Dawson from New Zealand. Mike Dawson is a pole sitter from last year. His run started to unravel about a third of the way through the course, and in fact, when he gets down to the key section in the Champions Killer, he went in backwards, and that wiped him out into 13th, but he's having a good run this year. Touched a rock in that compulsory section where he had to go left, and it cost him maybe half a second, but he's powering down the lower section where the drops get really big, and buffing and landing the lines are critical. He's also just qualified for the 2012 London Olympics, so he spent a lot of time training in the slalom boat. That rock pile has slowed him down a little bit as he comes into the Champions Killer. 49 seconds on the clock. It's not going to be a winning run, but he's going to be up there. But he powers it home. Look at that flat water technique, motoring that plastic. Looks up to the board. He's done it. The 24-year-old Kiwi is allowed to get into the hot tub with the Tyrol beauty, Christina Keir.
Kia ora, my name's Sam Sutton. I'm 23 years old from New Zealand, and I'm here to defend my title at the Sickline 2011.
So, Sam Sutton ready for his final run. All eyes on this man. Clearly the man to beat if he wins the final. He'll be the first ever back-to-back Extreme Kayaking World Champion. Time to beat is something within his range because he's done a 56.42 in the semi-final, and that was a new course record. He's on a charge now. Look at the lines. It's all grace and elegance. It's more how you land them than where you take the drops. Stroke rate, he's planned every stroke at every hole and every wave. Into the TNT Rapid. This is where you've got to get out clean and really fast, because just around the corner you line yourself up for champions. He's taking it down the extreme left, buffs it clean. This is the rock pile which has slowed down so many of them. The last drop in Champions Killer. This has got to be exited clean. The nose is up and he squirts the boat out. Now he just has to power down to the finish. 53 seconds, 54. He's got his heads down. That's the champion and a new course record. 23-year-old Sam Sutton from Rotorua in New Zealand defends his title, and he wins the Extreme Kayaking World Championship title. The master of the Sickline. So a masterful performance from Sam Sutton on a truly incredible stretch of river. Look at that, 2 Kiwis on the top of the leaderboard, with US paddler Isaac Levinson also in the top 8. It's time to spend some time with 20-year-old Richards Bay speedster Bridgette Hartley, who along with Tiffany Kruger will be representing South Africa at the Olympic Games in August.
Sometimes I do spontaneous things without really thinking about them. So I think when I made the decision, it wasn't that I put too much thought into it, I just did it. And then when I got there, I was like, what have I just done to myself? So I think that was how it all started. It was more like, all I had in my head was, I don't have a coach in South Africa, Nando's left, I have to now follow him, and the only way to do it is to go to Budapest. That was the only option, there was no other option that I had. And I couldn't go there for the whole year, but I could go there for like big blocks at a time. I don't regret making the decision. I've had lots of homesick days actually. I remember when I left South Africa after the 2010, it was the Soccer World Cup, and I'd been training in Pretoria and I'd been around the vibe, and I had to leave before the semi-finals. Then I got to Budapest and the vibe wasn't that cool. And I was like, I'm missing out. Like, even though I'd only gotten to watch 2 live games. Well, he's actually been my only coach, to be honest. I've had trained with other groups and had different coaches along the way, but I've never had another coach for paddling. And it's kind of like, the reason I stuck with him was because he made me foster. I never paddled as a junior. I just kind of started out, but I was at boarding school in Pretoria, so I only really took up paddling at a really late age. But I surfed before, and I did athletics and hockey and gymnastics, so I was really sporty before. I think I'm quite goal-orientated, actually. I always have been in my life, but particularly in sport. Like, if I start a sport and I want to achieve something, I try my best to achieve it as far as I possibly can. And that's what racing is all about. When you're racing and you get complacent, then you don't have that hungry desire to win, and you need that desire. Like, that's what makes you cross the line and fight for the last 100 meters to beat somebody, because you really, really want it, and that's what makes you paddle harder and push harder. I probably could say I have more than one now, because I would definitely say my B final last year at World Champs was one of my perfect races. I got a little bit of a... When I watched the men's 1,000 final, I saw Anders Gustafsson from Sweden. He put in a massive surge before he got to the 500 meter mark. So for me to have, pick up my game at a 250, if I had to replicate what he did, and be a bit gutsy, I would have to start pushing harder from before the 250, and that's usually where I pick up I change my stroke a little bit, and that's my race plan. And this time I was like, well, I've got nothing to lose. Anders managed to do it really well. He medaled. I can't medal now, but let me try and be gutsy like he was, and just imagine what he did, and just before the 250 mark, before I see that middle buoy, I have to pick it up, and I just have to go for it and don't stop until I cross the line. And that was, I think, basically what changed my race a little bit, is that I was probably in the same place as I was off the start compared to all the other girls. The Canadian girl on the right went off so fast that I was by her tail. But then as soon as I got to the part where I thought I have to go now, I've got nothing to lose, I just picked it up, and I thought if I die in 50 minutes to go, well, then so be it. But I didn't, and I managed to just get stronger and stronger and finish, cross the line and be like, I did it. Cool, but some people do remind me that I crossed the finish line and I looked to the right and I was in lane 9 and there was nobody to look at. But then I was saying I was looking to somebody on the bank to confirm I'd won, because then I looked to the left and I thought I'd won, but I actually looked to the right first because I wanted somebody to say, yes, you got it, but then I saw no one. So on the cameras it looks like I'm looking to see who's competing against me on the right, and there's nobody in the lane on the right. If you line up on that start line and all of a sudden you say to myself, oh my gosh, this is the Olympics, if I fail now, it's the end of my world, then you're not going to have a good race. And the idea is to have a really good race, to replicate that perfect race, which you should be able to do again and again, but have the best one at the Olympics and not feel like you've put too much pressure on yourself that you have to win that gold medal, because most of the time if you do that, you won't end up winning. Well, I like to make a race plan, but not only the plan of my race, but the preparation leading all the way from breakfast even. And whereas if you have a plan, it's almost like you just have to be like a little bit of a robot and just follow exactly this is how it should go, and this is how my race should go, and I have a focus. I have my brain working on or concentrating on something other than getting distracted by the other athletes and what the other athletes are doing. I think maybe once I get my Olympic kit, then maybe I'll be like, this is it, it's time.